Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We went out this morning, pulled some beets. I been from the Blue Ridge Mountains. I adore pickled beets. Angela Kay, her mom's from East Tennessee. She's got that same kind of blood running through her. We're pickled beet freaks over here, okay? And so today, Angela Kay is going to show you how to pickle some delicious beets, all right?
Obviously, first, we need to cook those beets. Well, first, the very first thing, you need to wash those beets because they be dirty. So I washed the beets. The water is not enough yet for me to not reach in there. I pulled off all the tops, pulled off the root end. Now I'm putting them in some water. I just put them in a big pot, cover them with water, put them on medium-high heat, and just let them boil until they are fork tender. I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Okay, as you can see, they're starting to pierce with a fork. They're not fully ready, but all beets are not going to be the same size because they all grow different sizes. So they're going to get done at different rates. So you want to constantly keep moving them, constantly keep checking them.
How long have they been in right now?
They've been in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
And at this point, some of the tiny ones are pretty much ready to go. So what you want to do at this point, you want to have a sink full of cold water, clean cold water. As you can see, I've already been putting some beets in it. You want to have a sink full of clean cold water ready so that as each beet gets fork tender, you throw it in the cold water so that it stops the cooking. Also, this foam, don't get scared about the color of this foam. It's from the iron in the beets. The iron is cooking out, so you're going to get this color. And also the color of the beets, do not get this around anything white. It's going to be beet colored when it's over.
Beets are going to stain.
Yes. Okay, we have our beets in our cold water, and they've cooled down significantly so that I can handle them. Now we're going to peel them. See, if they're cooked properly, the peel will just slip right off. See? The peel just slips completely off if they're cooked properly. And then you don't have to stand there and peel them. I've seen so many people peel beets before they start cooking them. You're just asking for trouble. Just cook them first and see, they're perfect. It peels perfect every time. Now, if they're this big, you don't want to pickle it whole like that. So you want to cut it into bite-sized chunks, which is about quarters. If they're large like that, you may want to cut it again. So now, we just keep peeling and cutting those up into that bowl, and then we'll get started on the brine.
You always cut the bottoms off of them?
Yes.
Bottoms and tops?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you get that little fiber right there from the root.
Yeah.
And the top, you get all of those gnarly pieces from the tops. So you really don't want to have those gnarly pieces in there.
Okay.
Okay, now our beets are done, all cut up and ready to go. Now we're ready to start building the brine. This recipe is my mom's recipe. I was taught how to make this when I was a little girl. Actually, it's not completely her recipe. It's her. It was one of her dear friends that lived to be 102 years old.
Yeah.
And she made the best beets anyone had ever tasted. So this is the beautiful recipe that this is.
This recipe is at least 60 years old then or more?
Oh, this recipe is way older than that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This recipe could be crazy old because it was probably her mother's.
Yeah. Anyways.
So in this pot we have, now I'm adding more because I have a lot of beets, but we are adding 3 cups of granulated sugar. I'm using pure cane sugar. And you use 3 cups of apple cider vinegar and 2 cups of water. Now once you add that 2 cups of water, you bring that up to a boil, just till it has started bubbling, just barely bubbling. and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, as you can see, there's steam starting to come up from my brine, and you can see it starting to move a little in the bottom of the pot. So now I'm going to add in my beets that I've cut up.
Don't splash yourself.
I probably should not show this on camera, but
don't splash yourself. That's hot.
So I'm going to do this the careful way until I get the bowl down a little bit. So I'm going to do this the careful way.
Thank you.
Because if you splash yourself with this
hot sugar and vinegar,
it's going to hurt, and you're also going to be red.
I might smart a little bit.
And you're going to be red too, because this will stain like everything.
I just don't want a burnt wife.
What about a red burnt wife?
Even worse.
Violet, you're turning violet. Violet. Sorry, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Grew up on that movie. Okay, now we're just gonna dump.
Should be good.
We got it down now, so we can dump them all in.
That's good. That's beautiful.
Now, stir them around, and you want to bring them up to a bubble. And you just, once they come up to a bubble, you can start jarring them up, and I'll show you how to do that.
Man, they smell good.
Okay, now they've come to a bubble. I've turned the heat off, and now we're getting ready to start jarring them up. I'm canning these in quarts. You can also can them in pints, but I'm going to can them in quarts. Now, I have my canning station here that I always tell you about, so it catches all the drips. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to start, I've got a slotted spoon, and we're going to start spooning our beets into the bottom of the jar. You want to leave about a 1/2 inch headspace. Headspace is the space between the food and the top of the jar. So you want to make sure that you put a nice amount of beets in there, but you don't want to overfill. You don't want to overcrowd, because you want the brine to be able to get around the beets. So there we go. Now we're going to start ladling our brine. Now, you want to try to avoid getting more beets, but sometimes it happens anyways. And you want to take it up to a 1/2 inch headspace. And this ladle is wonderful because it ladles a lot.
It's doing great.
And see, you have your line right here. See, it's showing you right here.
Let me get right to it then. There you go.
And see,
right on the 1/2 inch.
We're right on a 1/2 inch. So now we're going to take our handy dandy. We're going to take our handy dandy debubbling tool, and you want to run it down the sides. Be careful not to chop your beets up, and let out any bubbles. And as you can see, it may have took our brine down just a little bit. And we definitely need to take out one of the beets.
Yep, too tall.
So we're going to add just a splash more brine. Try not to get a beet. Ha ha ha.
Sorry. I got a beet.
Okay, now you want a wet paper towel. You want to wipe off your jar rim so that nothing interferes with your seal. Now, at this point, you can add any spices you like. Me, personally, I like whole cloves.
Cloves are the way to go.
It is amazing. That flavor is just awesome.
But they're strong.
So, in a pint, you want to only add 2 to 3, depending on how many you like. I am adding 4 for a quart. Now, we have some thoroughly washed lids over here, and they're sitting in hot water. I'm using my magnet. Set your lid on there. Now we'll get a ring. Now you just want to tighten it, just finger tight. You don't want to wrench it down, just finger tight. Now we'll take our handy dandy jar lifters and we will lift it and put it into, this is our ball electric water bath canner. If you don't have this, you can do it in just a regular stovetop canner. Lower it down in there. Now I know there's not an inch of water above it. There will be as soon as I add more. So now I'm going to keep doing this. We'll be back when I'm done. Okay, last one going in, and these are white beets.
Those are the white ones, albinos.
We got 2 quarts of white and 4 quarts of Detroit dark red. Now, because we are canning these in quarts, they will have to go for 40 minutes. If you are canning yours in pints, they will only have to go for 35 minutes. The ball electric water bath canner has a plate that you put down on top to hold everything secure in place. Now you want to put your lid on and you want to bring your water back up to a bubble. That should only take about 5 minutes. And then once it's back up to a bubble, start your timer for 40 minutes if you're doing quarts, 35 minutes if you're doing pints. Okay, it's processed for 40 minutes. Now you want to turn off all heat to your canner, whether it's a stovetop or the ball electric water bath canner. You want to turn off all heat and leave it sit to calm down for about 5 minutes. Okay, now they have set for 5 minutes. Now I'm going to start pulling them out. You want to pull straight up, just tilt just a tiny bit to knock off some of the water, and take it straight over.
Look at those beautiful beets. Man. In case y'all can't tell, I'm excited.
Those are gorgeous. Those are absolutely gorgeous.
These are lovely.
Now, when I pull out the white ones, you're going to see a huge difference. They're going to look totally different. Okay, here's the first jar of white.
Looks like canned pears.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. But they're pretty.
They're nice. They're nice.
Now we'll get to do a taste test.
Canned pears or canned taters.
Okay, now I'm going to take paper towel and I'm going to dab the excess water off. Do not touch this little thing in the middle. That will give it a false seal. Now these need to sit untouched, unmoved for 18 to 24 hours. I lean more toward the 24-hour mark.
Alright, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more canning and cooking videos, harvest videos. We do appreciate you guys so much. My name is Jason. The canning queen is Angela Kay. We love you guys. God bless you and goodbye.